Thank you, Reka. Do you hear me? Yep. Do you hear me? Yes? Do I need this? No? Great. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. So, well, thank you very much, Reka, for this introduction. Yes, if you don't innovate, there are good chances that you're going to disappear, and that's not what we want. We want to be there for some time and the long term. So today, and especially for startups, because that's the subject here today, we're going to talk about design thinking and startups. So having said that, let me introduce a bit myself. So I'm a designer by education. I did indeed work in New York for smart design. I worked for IBM as a design manager, and I worked also for Procter & Gamble, my previous job, working for Procter & Gamble. And I don't know how many of you have heard about Procter & Gamble embracing design thinking. Probably they were one of the first companies to really embrace design thinking. And design thinking the way that IDEO and Stanford created it. So that's what I will explain a bit today regarding design thinking. But first, I would like to know if from all of you, who has heard about design thinking or knows a bit about design thinking? Yes. And experiment design thinking more than anything. Well, so that makes 3. Good. So we've got a good chance to teach you at least something today. So I'm French. That's an important thing. That might explain that I might have some accent. I will try to speak with... well, I'm French. So anyway, so I don't know how this works. So I suspect yes, this. Okay. So, yeah, the question here is why design thinking is important for startups. Actually, I would like to kind of step back a bit about this. Because design thinking is good for any kind of company, any kind of business. Today, I'm going to focus on startup a bit, okay? But overall, design thinking is good for all size of business. It's not in particular for small and what characterize startups. Actually, you can be, of course, IBM, and they are embracing heavily design thinking, tagging even this as IBM design thinking. And you can be General Electric, GE, you can be, I don't know, Kraft, or you can be Nestle. All of these companies are nowadays, they are turning to design thinking. And you need to understand why, and that's what I'm going to explain later on. But specifically for startups, actually, I would like to frame a bit the context, okay? So what makes startups so specific? How many of you, and I'm sorry, the quality of the image is not that good, but you all know, probably most of you know about the business model canvas. It's very interesting that startups are very much focused on reinvent. They are not afraid of reinventing business models. It's even their lifeblood, okay? They want to reinvent and change things. And that's something that characterizes startups. Now they have a specific relationship with time. And why that? Because they want to make money and exit eventually quickly to make heavy money. They want to make big money. So, I would say that these two parts are not about design thinking. But here, there is a good chance that design thinking applies. Why that? because you work with your customer segment or consumer segment, whatever you call that. I'm sorry for you. I'm trying to kind of... and you work on your value proposition that will address your segment. And in order to do that, you better have to know your user. And we're going to go back to that concept of user later on. So what do they have in particular, the startups? Actually, that's what I call they have the mindset. Okay? They've got a mindset where, as I was saying, they believe in what doesn't exist. That's why they reinvent business models. Okay? They challenge business models and what is currently existing. They also, and it's really a phenomenal these days to see all these startups bringing new behavior. But you know, whatever you are in the air industry or transportation industry with taxi and accommodation with hotels. I mean, there are plenty of things to be done to change the current business model, and that's my personal opinion regarding this, but I think that most of these business models were built after the World War II. And we are now at a stage where we are changing a lot of things. We have entered the 21st century now 14 years ago, and this is time to challenge all these models that have been working properly, but that really belong to the 20th century. So they reimagine business model, and also something that characterizes startups is the fact that they challenge and they accept failure. They learn from that very quickly. And that's a very strong capability that can help them to learn from this. And we will briefly talk about the lean startup model, but that's part of it. That's part of their culture. That's part of their mindset. They accept these kind of things. You know, they fail, they improve. That's called iteration. They put creativity to work. That means that their mindset is very open. And that's a very good thing, of course. And then that's I think, something which is extremely important, that most of all big corporations are struggling with. That means agility. They have that, I mean, coming from IBM and Procter, believe me, I mean, it's really, really difficult to make these big giants move. And they try to, I mean, they are doing things to change things. And I don't know how many of you are working for big, large corporations, but you know how much internally we have difficulty to change things and move things and check the tree to have the fruits of, to harvest the fruit. So anyway, that characterizes startups. And why that? Mainly because probably the average age is younger. Certainly because the size allows it. And then, again, it's a question of mindset. And remember what I was saying before. They want to make big money quickly. Now some figures, okay? And I'm not... I don't like to put too much words in my slides, as you will see, but here, what I just wanted to highlight is there is a big major trend since the last, well, I would say for the last 4 years, okay? We've got more and more startups which have been funded by both by designers and engineers. You know, designers are now part of the equation of successful startups. Airbnb is a good example of them. And interestingly also, what you can see here is tech companies in the last 4 years have been hiring 10, and I would even say more than, because when I got these figures, I think that Deloitte purchased another company. I can't remember the name, but so we've got more and more design mindseted agencies that are acquired by big tech, Facebook, LinkedIn, I don't know, Twitter and all these companies. So then 5 startups co-founded by designers have raised 2.75 billion. I mean, that's a heavy figure. And what that means is that, that's what I will explain after, but that means that you have people with different kind of capability that are now entering these kind of companies. And that's a big change, because usually what you used to have, people having an MBA, people having an engineer degree or whatever, diploma, and they were minded very much around very analytical and rational kind of information. So you will see later on why this is changing. Then venture capital firms, I mean, they are now integrating designers. And one of them, John Maeda, who used to run the Rhode Island Design School, I mean, he's a star in the design world, and I don't know how many of you are designers, but he's a kind of a figure of this in this industry, in this field. And that guy was also at MIT. I mean, and that's something also which tells something about the kind of profile that VCs are looking for. But they are integrating designers in their board. So that's also a very strong sign that times are changing for that. Okay. So, yeah, here it's what I wanted to highlight with this slide is the fact that, in fact, designers have a different way to approach problem. Okay, and we're really about problem solving and creating opportunities. And this is very much related to design thinking, which I will explain later on. But that is also a sign of time. Now, if you look at below, new tech equal new ergonomy and equal new behaviors. I mean, who would have, say, I don't know, 7 years ago or 8 years ago, we would all play on our iPhone with apps to pay our parking lot? No one would have bet that. And that means that you have new ergonomic, okay? You have new gesture, you have new behavior. And if you want to understand the tech of tomorrow, you need to anticipate this. So that's why designers are also important, because the new technology are bringing to new possibilities and creating new behaviors. Now, this last thing is interesting, because actually, remember, I mean, before, in terms of technology, we were all thinking in terms of CPU, okay? How fast our machines, our computers can help us to proceed the information. But now that's not at all anymore how you can improve the experience of consumers, on users, of their machine. What is interesting is this. And I just want to recall something that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum said regarding wanting to create a happier country. And that's very interesting. I don't know if he has advisors telling him about design thinking and these kind of things, but I think this is a major trend. And this trend is something that you can see surfacing in the way that, in the message track that is given by even the highest authority in this country. How do you make it happen? Well, you just cannot have it from the bottom, okay? It has to come from the top. And as I was saying, I mean, now designers are part of the boards, okay, which is very important because that gives a strong signal that mindset are changing. So if you want to be successful, you need to have a design integrated as fast as possible. And just to highlight what Pepsi has been doing. I mean, they hired a chief design officer. I mean, do you know many companies that are able to do that? And now they are part of the highest part of the company. So if you want to accelerate that process, you better have to have it from the beginning on the top. Now, there is also an interesting ratio that I would like to highlight here. And this comes from a study made by a consulting firm in the Silicon Valley. But they are saying that basically you need to have a ratio of 1 to 5 in order to really change the mindset. So if you are in a company of 30 people, that means you need to hire 6 designers. Have you seen that in many companies? No, certainly not. So I know that I'm speaking mostly to startups. I guess that you are startups, that's why you came, maybe not. But the idea here is to say that you better have to hire early and significantly designers, because with their mindset, they can change the way you approach your problems and you create opportunities. Now there is a last fact here, and I have to say that I'm really not that kind of person because I don't know how to code. But interestingly, that same study was saying that if you want to successfully integrate and balance, this kind of left brain, right brain, you better have to have designers knowing about coding, but you also need to have engineers understanding what design means. And that's what I'm going to explain later on for you at least to be aware of what it is. So to be down to earth, actually, that's also something that was very interesting, is try to go back to the early 2000s and remember, for instance, Sun microsystem, I should probably say. And look, I mean, we were designing for tech companies. Okay, computing was about tech companies. Now, we're computing for regular people, for you, me, and that's the audience is completely different. And that enables me to go also to the next subject, which is design thinking to users, not consumers, not techies in particular, or engineers. No, we are here talking about you and me in our personal life. Just one last slide. Oops. Okay, I gave the answer. What are the top 10 business mistakes? I hope you didn't see it. So, what are the top 10 business mistakes? Unless you have seen that chart already from the strategizer, where I did get this information. So, actually, the biggest mistake that companies and startups are doing is this. They are building something nobody wants. Nobody wants it, okay? So I will get back to that point later on, explaining what is the right configuration for innovation. But I found this very interesting because that totally supports one point, is you need to build and to create solutions with your user in mind from the beginning. You're not creating a wonderful application for the developer of the competition who's going to look at what you're doing and, oh my God, wow, that's well done. No. you're doing something, you're creating something for the user, and that means you need to start putting the user at the center of whatever you are doing, you're creating. So, well, other reasons, hiring poorly. So that goes back to my point regarding hiring designers from the beginning. Not saying that designers are going to save the world. Far from me to saying that, but at least it's an interesting component. From the beginning, you need to hire this kind of profile. And I'm specifically talking about profile. I'm not talking about designer in particular, but people who are plugged differently, you know, somehow. And I'm going to, well, skip the rest of the... Okay. So why do we need design thinking? You got partially now the answer, what I said earlier. Okay, you need to design with users in mind. I like to show that picture because, of course, I mean, the metaphor here is Eve biting the apple. Why do you think she chose the apple? Because, sorry?
The snake gave it to her.
Yeah, no, the snake said, look at that fruit. Now, well, the idea here is to say that you are designing not to make it beautiful, but because you understand her frustrations. And her frustration, if we go back to this metaphor, is she wants to know, she wants to test, she wants to whatever. But then that means that you understand her frustrations. You understand what is her inner, deeper, unmet need. Okay? And that's where design thinking starts. Who has heard about VUCA? Cool. VUCA means, actually it's an army word, okay? It's a contraction, it's an acronym for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Why that? I'm just not putting that word just to look nice, although the picture is quite nice. But actually, that's characterized the world we're living into. I mean, well, these recent days are telling us very much that we are in these kind of chaos. But I mean, look at how much we are bombarded with information. It's just unbelievable. I mean, we're all on our smartphone, kind of checking the news. If we want to buy something, you can check on the internet what is the real price. Yeah, I mean, it's complexified all the time. You have so many information at the same time that it's almost impossible to make your own judgment. But at the same time, it's easier to make your judgment because you can go on the internet and check and compare and whatever. Okay? So that's the world as it is described by some people in the army. I think it was, well, anyway. However, if you want to react to that, there is the other acronym, which is still VUCA. To volatility, you oppose vision, okay? To uncertainty, and I need to read my paper because I forgot that one. Yeah, you've got understand, okay? Understanding. To complexity, you've got clarity. And to ambiguity, you've got, yeah, I'm going to read it, sorry. You've got the agility, going back to my earlier point. So why I'm saying that is actually you've got here the recipe. the recipe to face the world that we're into. And it's very interesting to see how many big corporations now have a clear vision, okay, to oppose to the volatility of an ecosystem of the business. Actually, what is interesting is you oppose the vision, okay? You give a clarity, vision for all your employees to understand where you want to lead them and where they need to go to. So now I want to do also a little exercise. Okay, what is common with all these companies? Maybe some of you don't know this one. I don't know if you know EasyJet. Yeah, well, maybe the Westerner might know it, but anyway, all these companies have something in common. What do you think is common among all these companies?
They are not startups.
They are not startups?
They are not startups.
That's not the point, but nice try. Yeah.
Disruptive business models.
Sorry?
Disruptive.
They disrupt the business model, yes, indeed.
They learn to pivot.
Okay. Based on what I said earlier.
They follow design thinking.
No. I'm sorry to tell you, no. Sorry.
You can pay for this service online.
No. Nice try again. Okay, I'm gonna.
Very profitable.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, what is interesting is they started to build their idea around the user. EasyJet. EasyJet is a low-cost company, okay? What characterizes EasyJet? You pay for what you carry, basically. So you want to go from Geneva to London, and you don't need a suitcase because you're just staying for the day. It's a 1-hour flight. Why would I pay for the 20 kilos of luggage? No, I don't need that. So they understood that more than any other, and they cut the cost. All went with options. Okay, you want to fly with your big heavy luggage? Fine, but you're going to pay more. If you look at Nespresso, they totally. Sorry, you want to say something?
I had a question.
When you put any of the successful businesses, they always think of the user first. It's not anything new, right? Like if you put Google or you put Facebook, everybody would say that, oh, we put the user first. This is how we thought of the whole process.
Yes, and that's why they were startup at the beginning. They became quite heavy. But when you look at Facebook, Google, or all these companies, I'm sure that Uber, I don't know how many employees they've got, but they've got kind of a lot, okay? And you go EasyJet as well, and they are big, but at the beginning they were just a startup company. Emirates was a startup company in a way, okay? So, and they put the customer, the user, at the center of it, providing such a kind of a great experience flying from one point to another. So they emphasize that by really focusing on the experience. But all these companies, I'm going to each of them. Nespresso, that's that moment when you get your coffee. It's not a hassle to make a coffee. It's you just have to put the capsule, and it makes the exquisite type of coffee. And on top of that, you're part of a club, an elite club. So it's you talk to the ego of the people. Uber, of course, the kind of safety experience, especially in Dubai, having a good taxi is kind of important. At least who knows where to go. And Airbnb, they are completely changing the way that you now experience accommodation in other countries where you're not, where you're away from your home. So, and MPay, I put that one because I found that interesting, and I should change the logo of this one. Now they've got a new logo with the Dubai logo, but that's, you pay at the finger of your, the tip of your finger. Oh, it's so easy. You make it simple for the user. He doesn't even think that he's paying, which is always good for this government. Anyway. Um, Now let's talk about a bit about design, okay? You probably all know, yeah, I love this. You probably all know about this, okay? Companies no conscious of design, okay? And well, I'm not going to explain that. They don't have design, so. And I'm here using some kind of, I don't know how to call that in English. It's probably a little drill or something like that, manual drill. Metallic one that we used in the 20th century or even before. Then the second stage in terms of design awareness is, oh, okay, let's use design as a way to create style, okay? It's much more about kind of decoration. That's nice color, that's nice material, that's nice shape. That's beautiful, so let's put some kind of plastic handle with red plastic color to look like a Black & Decker and whatever, okay? Then you've got form and function, okay? Your product evolve. What is interesting here is you really talk about, okay, how I'm going to start making the, bringing some solution to facilitate making holes in the wall. But then, you start to enter what we call the design thinking and the much more strategic dimension of design, okay? And I'm going to kind of step back a bit about something. Design actually is like a two-half, okay? You've got the operational aspect of design, and you've got the strategic dimension of it. On the operational aspect of it, you've got graphic design, product design, web design, retail design, ta-da-da design, and XYZ design, okay? So you've got all sorts of design. But what you've got on the other side, the other half, is really the strategic dimension of design. That's where you enter and where you place the design thinking. Because here you enter as design, as solution provider, and creating opportunity. What is interesting here, these two things. Here, problem solving. What could it be solving the fact you have a battery? The obvious thing is you solve the mobility problem, okay? But there is another problem that it solves. Loyalty to the brand. You've got one battery that can fit the driller, the sander, the whatever. That's kind of a side effect that is very interesting on a marketing point of view. Now, if you enter this last stage, creating opportunities. Actually, what does it look like? An iPhone, okay? I couldn't find anything better to talk about. Well, actually, that company you cannot read. It's Zilog. Okay, basically, when you've got a driller, how many times are you using it per year? Once, twice, 3 max. Okay, the rest of the time, cupboard, and that's it. Sometime you.
Just like backpacker.
So these people have been thinking differently, and they said, okay, well, in my neighborhood, I might have some people ready to lend me or give me for, maybe if I give them 5 dirham, I can borrow it for 1 hour or something like that. Everybody wants to make money. So actually, you're part of a community and you access to some interesting solutions, to help you with your particular problem. So they have quite grown big. So this is this is a strategic dimension of design. Now, don't know if you heard about these guys. So I'm going to talk about 2 thought leaders, Roger Martin and Tim Brown. Okay, so Roger Martin was the dean of the Rotman Institute. I think that guy had a big moment of aha, basically, when he thought, well, actually, business-minded are like this. They are very much about analytical thinking. Designers are much more about intuitive thinking. And actually the solution is here. When you start to kind of mix the two capability. And I will explain that later on further. Now that was not the layout I was planning. It changed all my fonts, so that's why you've got this. But Tim Brown is the CEO of IDEO. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with this company. They basically created this design thinking process. Okay, and I mean, they have been smart enough, and working for Procter, you know how much these companies are, well, I know how much this company was uncomfortable with artist kind of profile. Okay, designers, well, fine, but we don't know. We know how to manage marketing and talk to human resource. I mean, they always tell you that you are kind of a mistake in the whole process as a designer. So they know what marketing does and how to hire, how to calibrate a marketing person. They know how to calibrate engineers. But designers, I mean, what is this kind of specific spaces where these people don't think the same way? And it's extremely difficult to, by the way, to hire designers and good designers. But that's another story. But why that? Because actually what is interesting is design is really at the crossroad of many things, okay? And it implies, of course, the support and the need for technological feasibility, which R&D can give you, understanding the market, a bit of the business strategy that marketing does, and certainly the leader of the company control. But they know, and that's the specificity of design, and with design thinking, to be able to convert that into customer value and market opportunity. And that's the specificity of this capability that, that you see now being, as I was saying earlier on, saying about startups and VCs. They realize that actually it's a capability that is not about analytics, but much more about intuitive. But still, design now being at the crossroad of all this, and that's what I'm going to show. No, not this one, but probably after. Is actually, you need these three dimensions, at least, because then we're going to talk about collaboration. But R&D is centered on technology, okay? Marketing is centered on the understanding of the market. But what design is centered on is users. We are focused on usage. We understand more than any other usage. And if you want to have a successful equation, design plus R&D plus marketing equal innovation.
Again, but the R&D, sorry?
Yes.
Based on what? The R&D? Focused on research.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, research and technology, sorry. Technology. I mean, working for Procter, for instance, R&D was continuously working on developing new chemicals.
So
it's
like
not the
product or the what's new in the product, let's say.
It's how you can make the product evolve with a new whatever will help you to make your product maybe cleaning better or scrubbing better, or I don't know. Yeah. So when I entered Procter, actually at that time they said, wow, okay, we want to be an innovative company, so we need to build a design function that will be separated and not reporting to marketing and R&D. So we were a department on our own. Okay, we had our own budget, and if we were not happy, we were telling that to our colleagues from marketing and R&D, and we were complaining with the big boss. And when we were super happy, we were managing the things on our own. We did not have to report to marketing person. Can you please give me some budget to develop that? And you will see what I did, by the way, without any permission from the marketing folks, and the results have been absolutely fantastic. But that's another story. So, what is design thinking? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, just a question on your earlier slide.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, so like when you talk about like the design and okay, yes, it's not related to the marketing and stuff. So regarding whether it's in packaging, whether it's online in terms of the designers and developers, because design, like as you said, you're not really the expertise and you're relying on the people who have the design structure to go and tell you what is necessary. But as startups, like most, we can't really experiment too much, and we're relying solely on it. So what advice would you give us startups to go and make sure that we are using for the right market? It's not just someone coming from another state and understands the GCC. So which way would you advise startups to go and say, okay, like with limited cost, can't go and like try all the strategies that would work?
The answer is following, but I can already tell you that you had the answer. Experiment, prototype, and you will see that's part of the design thinking process. You prototype, you test.
No, I understand, but as startups, that's really expensive to keep doing, So is there
No,
any other?
you can. You will see when I will show you prototype what it means to prototype. What I mean by prototype.
Like
If you,
A/B testing and stuff like that?
it can be made with. First, you listen to your user, and you prototype and you iterate. You share with them, and that can be just with 2, 3, 5 person. Already, you're going to have a good direction to move on. But I will build on that. But it's a good question, because actually, what you highlight here is what is the benefit of design thinking. The benefit of design thinking is really about this last part, because you could basically say, well, that's brainstorming. Yeah, that's brainstorming, but brainstorming for the sake of it. No, actually there is this kind of initial phase where you explore, okay, and from that then you hypothesize. And actually, well, that's my way to present it. IDEO does this kind of this kind of two-phase, well, kind of shape, Coca-Cola shape bottle. I'm doing this because what I like is, I think it's, anyway, I think it's nicer and more colorful. Anyway, so what I was saying is, then what you do here is you empathize, okay? You use empathy. And startup can really, really do that because they are small and they are agile, and they can easily deep dive and understand and listen. Big companies, you know what they do? They go to Sofres or IFOP or all these research companies, and they say, okay, tell me what the market is saying about this. Okay, so 58%, 43%, or first tier, second tier, whatever. Well, fine. But where is the interaction? How do you catch what is really the inner feeling of the person? And you will understand then why I'm saying that, because what is important is basically this, catching whatever is not said. You will see in the exercise we will do. So it's a kind of a 5-step, would say. I mean, some are saying more, less, whatever, okay? What is interesting here is it's a process, okay? It's a process you go through, and more, I do not define myself as a design thinking specialist or expert or whatever, because that's just a way. That's like technology. Technology is a way to call someone, okay? What I feel much more comfortable is what I think is specifying this is I am helping to do human-centered innovation. Because I think that in the technological world we are living, and especially in this country where technology is so dominant, we need to have a new app. but are you sure that's what the consumer is looking for, or the user is looking for? So anyway, what I wanted you to recall from this is it's a collaborative, team-based, cross-disciplinary process. What is important here is you put in the room people coming from different horizons with different expertise. It's a way to create innovation, but based on the challenge. And the initial phase here, which I did not represent, it's really framing your problem. We'll see that after in the 10 principles. And then it's an imaginative mindset. Okay, so that is a lot of words, but what I want you to recall is you've got the traditional way. Oh, I don't know if I'm hiding enough, but this is a traditional way of business thinking, okay? So you identify a business challenge. And you're going to explore the market, going to these research companies. They're going to give you good figures and da-da-dee-da-da-da, okay? And from that, you're going to create a solution, okay? And from that solution, you're going to look for validation. And from this validation, then you're going to go to implement. This is going to cost you a fortune. This, not to say about this, because that's... but this is the current standard traditional way to put a new product on the market. With design thinking, and I don't want you to oppose this to that. I want you to understand this works together. Okay? And actually, what the design thinking mindset is going to look for is this. I'm going to identify a user challenge. And the difference between the two is here you put back the humankind at the center, okay? You put the human being, the person, the user at the center of it. And that's what is interesting, because then the way you're going to solve it is going to be radically different. Then you're going to do this kind of exploration, immersion, where you're going to analyze trends. And you're going to integrate that in your thinking. And then you're going to start creating some solutions, following with prototyping and low-res prototype. What that means is, if you focus on this low-res prototype, usually it costs far less than just going for the final version almost. Because you're constantly, over there, you're constantly looking for, okay, what I need to put on the market has to be the final. No. No way, because first, innovation is a journey. So it's not about, okay, well, I'm putting my innovation and yoo-hoo, it's going to work and wonderful world and so on. No. It's a journey. That means that you need to continuously improve it. And that's why we call it iteration. Now, what design thinking is not, so it's not supposed to be rectangle here, but anyway. So it's not a post-it promotion. Well, how many of you have seen these wonderful pictures of design thinking workshop where you've got people, beautiful colors? Well, that's not about promoting 3M here. It's not a brand. And I'm very surprised to see that in a way, IBM is taking design thinking and saying, IBM design thinking. I don't understand that. But fair. Okay, well, they want to do that. It's not a rigid methodology. I've seen design thinking workshop. I've facilitated design thinking workshop where we shifted completely in the middle of the workshop because we did not have the right question, okay, from the beginning. That means that actually we were addressing a problem which was not a problem. So we had to react. Or I have seen teams that were not working together. So I had to kind of mix the whole thing again. Or I had to take ideas from one group to the other group. And they were reinventing completely the whole idea. It's a very agile process, and you need to a methodology, because otherwise if you feel too confident that you're on the right track and everything works smoothly and so on, no, it's not about it. It's not about a workshop, it's a mindset. So every day, consistently, you need to approach problems this way. That's not something that you can practice on your own. This is something that you practice collectively. And that's extremely important because that's the richness of the different people looking at the same problem, which is going to bring a complete solution. It's not about brainstorming, I explained that. It's not limited to designers, not at all. We organize design thinking workshop with assistant of the VP, with I don't know, production guy, engineers, and we had guys from the advertising agency as the creative person. And more interestingly, by the way, the design thinking network within Procter, we were about something like 100 people. You had people from all the different parts of the organization. They were not specifically designers. And that's the last thing to be doing is to only have designers, because designers will start to talk about design. And that's not necessarily a design solution that you need. Okay, and hopefully it's not a new or a fad. I don't think so. But, well. So as I was saying, the purpose is to transform challenges and create opportunities. It's a human-centered solution process. And ultimately, and that's, for me, that's the, how you call that? You know, the check at the end. If you do not deliver the business growth with your solutions, okay, fine. It's a nice moment between several people in the same room having fun and creating and reinventing the world. But no, this is not that. The objective is this, really, the business growth. So it accelerates innovation process. Actually, that's what is interesting. Why that? Because you've got this quick prototype, low-res prototype that you can check quickly. I mean, within your 2 or 3 days or 4 days of workshop, whatever you do, how you proceed. But that's the beauty of it. You accelerate the process because you iterate and you are capable of take the feedback, improve, try again, confront with your the user, learn from what he says, accepting sometimes failures, building on this. Also, what is interesting is, and I'm going to explain later on what's a wicked business problem, but it brings fresh pair of eyes. We at Procter, we're calling that alien eyes. Okay, that means that we're always looking at things with a new pair of eyes, and having that, you know, the problem, we know it. It's sometimes it's a business problem which is recurrent. You know, we have it on a, but having people from different part of the company was very interesting. People from even from a business unit, for instance, running a design thinking workshop on Pampers, and having someone coming from Olay is not in the same business, but at least he can have a different perspective to your problem. It allows everyone to be creative, and certainly it delivers breakthrough concepts. However, I'm very nervous with this breakthrough concept notion, because I think that if your business, your breakthrough concept doesn't support or integrate your business model, there are good chances that either your breakthrough concept is gone. Okay, bye-bye, forget about it. Or that means that beforehand, you need to be ready to adapt your business model. And that's always a question I was asking to my boss is, are you ready to change the business model if the outcome, if you're excited by the outcome, are you okay to influence, slightly change your business model to integrate this? And that needs to be said beforehand. And it works. And it works. So we did that with Carpool Arabia. I'm just giving that example here because, of course, I mean, that's local. And and I've got my friend from Carpool here. But what is interesting is there was 24 ideas coming out from the design thinking workshop we ran in May or June. 9 were short term, 10 were medium term, and 5 long terms.
Can you share some of those ideas?
Of the ideas?
Yeah.
Well, it was mainly focusing on the application, on what would be the future application. But I think that the way we were addressing some of our users, the way we were proposing the experience on the app and understanding most of it, understanding what they were really needing, help Carpool to modify some aspect of the usage online. But maybe Ben, you can talk about this because you're.
To give you an example of the short-term, short-term things that we've implemented straight away is we have changed all the text messages that the user were receiving. We just realized that it doesn't mean anything. So the text messages the people were receiving is, hey, you have a new message, check your email. No, actually, you don't need to check your email to check your message on the platform. So we review all that, and we look at how we want to address the audience. On the medium term things is we completely review the homepage, and we created what we call DAOs. So on the homepage you could have the popular destinations. So going to GLT, going to Discovery Garden, going to Abu Dhabi. So all of that were reshifts of the homepage, because this is where most of the people land and where most of the people stop the interaction with the service. And in the long term, what was very critical for us was to understand we're at the time we're crafting the mobile app, and we wanted to make sure that the service we are looking to deliver is really what the user needs. Okay, as Hervé said before, it places the user in the middle of your approach, and to understand and to make sure you do what the user wants and not what your heart wants or what your friends want is very different. So that's just to give you an idea about short, medium, and long terms.
And who participated in this?
So
in the workshop, I don't take too much of the time, but
it's okay.
in the workshop, it's a very interesting crowd because it's a mix of volunteers and users. So we open up the floor to whoever wanted to participate to a hands-on design thinking workshops. We would have loved to bring some people from our team, but our team is very small, including just 2 people. So the 2 people were here, 100% of the company. But if we had let's say an organization of 100 people, we would have brought some guy from security, a guy from a fleet manager, a guy from the marketing. You can bring other people in order to address the problem that we were a very small team. We just invited people who were interested to participate and understand the design thinking workshop.
Just one time check. Rika, I might go, it might take longer because it's already 3 and, it depends how much I talk. And 3:30? Okay.
At 3:30, and
Okay.
the guys could get about 5 or 10 minutes of coffee break.
Okay, great.
So, and I think if everybody is okay with that.
Wonderful. Okay, great. Okay, so as you can see, thank you very much, Rika. These figures are quite significant. I mean, 10% activity growth and 20% in user retention. I mean, I think these are dream figures for any marketing person, and especially with a startup. So I'd like now to go through the 10 design thinking principles that maybe if you have read my post, I've heard about it, but I decided to take 10 principles. They are not, it's not exhaustive. But this is, with that, at least you have some keywords that explain how to proceed if you want to have results. Okay? So going from iteration, framing your problem, leveraging empathy, using storytelling, being flexible in the way you approach problems. Don't hesitate to get inspired, bringing outside inside, focusing on your low-res prototyping activities, leverage collective curiosity and collaboration while, of course, using ideation capability. So I'm going to go through each of them. And since I'm a nice person, I'd like you to also participate. Otherwise, it's not fun. So empathy, okay? You were talking about the heart. Actually, empathy helps to use your heart, not just your mind. Because your user, and remember the person biting the apple, the user has a heart. He's a human being. That means he has complex behavior driven by his heart, his feelings, and it's very interesting to hear some marketing folks saying, well, actually, these consumers are saying that they would buy this product, but actually you realize at the end that no, when they are in front of the shelf, they are not buying the product. They are not interested because they need to pay. Okay, so that's why before to consider the consumer who says something and does something else, you have to understand the user, and for that you need to address to the heart. So I want to share this sad picture. Okay, well actually. You probably don't see properly this, but you have the two parents arguing in the back, and you have that little boy, mute, thinking, feeling something, and I would like you to tell me what that person is saying, the little boy. What is he saying?
When will they stop?
Sorry?
When will they stop?
Okay. Well, that's probably what he's thinking. But he's saying nothing here. He's mute. He's keeping inside. He's feeling, okay? Now, what is he doing?
Closing his eyes.
He's closing his eyes. He's trying to separate himself from whatever is going on because he's sad. Now, what is he thinking? Probably what you were saying. When are they going to stop? That's probably the nice thing he's thinking. He's probably thinking, what did I do wrong? Which is even worse. Now, what the guy is feeling, of course, sadness. He's really sad. Now, I want you to kind of pause. I mean, when you see, and what I just talk, I mean, you cannot be human if you don't have compassion and kind of empathy for whatever that boy is feeling. And it touched your heart. And I'm not here talking about designing a product for him to be able to go on the iPad and click that app and say, my parents are arguing once again or whatever. No. I'm just saying, look, I mean, this little boy is raising probably your attention and your level of empathy. And that's an exercise that you practice when you do a design thinking workshop. You have empathy for the user. What triggers his motivation to do something or not to do something? And that's what you need to understand. And I'm not talking about consumption. I'm not talking about purchasing a product to save the world. Okay, that's empathy. Low-res prototype. Cool, that's the video time now. I don't know how that works. Am I supposed to do anything? Oh, yeah. No?
Go forward.
It's forward? No.
You have to click your mouse
maybe it's on. No, it's on the computer. Okay, yeah.
Do you want video?
You need to click here. Yeah. So that's a little video that is supposed to. Oh, cool! I can drink. That is supposed to explain a bit about what I mean by prototyping. Tell me it's working. Yes. That can be a drawing. And that can be these kind of things, you know. Oh my God. Well, anyway, the idea here is to show you, I mean, it can go from just writing something. It can be, we even played, when I was at Procter, we're playing with front cover of a magazine, okay? Imagine what would be the company or your specific category product in 2020, for instance, so 2020. So the idea is really about something very simple, basic, that you can share with the user, and he can feedback on it. And the less beautiful it is, the best it is, because the idea is really for the person to focus on the concept, not focusing on the beauty of the rendering and whatever. No, I mean, you can stick it with tape, with whatever. I mean, it's really has to be raw as much as possible. Storytelling, okay. Another video, Mr. Video, please, can you help me? It's really interesting to use storytelling actually to put the idea in a context, okay? So now, this is an exercise and it's very complete, you will see, but I did that in the context of fairy liquid, you know, hand dish liquid, for the UK. The impact of what we did is we brought the market share from 53, I think, to 70 or 72. So it's massive impact because of this story, and you will see that. So if you can run the, and let down the sound, please. No, that's not it. No.
The other ones are.
It's here. Click. Go on it. No. Go. Slide on it. Slide on it. Put. Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay, so here what we did, the exercise we did was really to kind of romance a bit what happened to this brand in the UK. And actually, they positioned themselves as followers. Why they were the leader on the market, 53% of the market size, so of the market share. So that was significantly big at that time. But how do you revive that? How you decommoditize yourself? And that way we use storytelling for the whole team, and that means R&D, marketing, finance, all the production team, everybody needed to see how they steadily killed that brand. I mean, by not killed, but diminishing the impact, and they were really afraid of being commoditized by all the retailer brands. So that's just an example how you can leverage storytelling to put a brand into the context, or into the context and the idea into the context. So now, flexibility, being comfortable with ambiguity. Okay, so little exercise again. How do you separate these two things? These two pieces of here. That's the bottom part, that's the upper part. How do you separate these kind of things? Can you separate these two pieces? Sorry?
Move it sideways.
Move them sideways. That means like this, for instance?
With a pair of scissors.
With a pair of scissors. Could be. Actually, I don't have a paperboard, but the brain reads this as this is going this way, this is going this way. Okay? I mean, did you see that, or is it just me? It's just me? Okay. The idea here is actually the evidence. What you see is your brain automatically think that this is going this way, this is going this way, so it's impossible to remove them. Ah, thanks, that's so nice. Actually, the fact is, the reality is that. So I hope I will be able to demonstrate my...
Use a different marker. Please. Thank you.
Thanks. So you would tend to think that actually you've got this. And then I'm drawing this, some kind of, more or less, something like this. That's what your brain is reading, actually, except you.
I see it as something on a paper. That's all.
Okay, well, that's even better. So in terms of volume, I mean, in terms of 3D, what you see, what your brain reads is this. Actually, no. This is, the solution is here, actually. So I don't know if I make myself very clear. So I'm going to draw it differently. If you look at from the top, in fact, your brain read this as, while in fact, you just slide this. You see what I mean? Well, anyway, okay. I'm not sure I got my point, but the idea here is flexibility is being capable of face the ambiguity and see things and approach things differently. iteration, feedback is a gift, okay? And especially with users. When they provide you back with some information on the usage of the product, or not the product, but the service or the experience, what they feel, what they wish could work better, once you've done your prototype, it's a gift, and then you improve. You improve, and actually that's the lean startup model, okay? Basically, you have your idea, you build it, you produce it, you measure, and that what you do is you get data and you learn and you iterate. And again and again and again and again and again. Why that? Because then your product is not just, as I was saying, innovation is a journey. Once you've done your product, it's not done, okay? You have to keep improving it. And that's why it's almost a vicious circle, okay? It doesn't stop. Do you think that Apple and their iPhone, okay, we have done the iPhone 6s, okay, done, we're on holiday. It's going to be sold for years and years and years. No. They keep going, improving, integrating whatever users feel, and hopefully they listen to, well, somehow they listen to them. Although I'm not sure, because Steve Jobs said he never made any research. But framing. Framing is a very important thing as well. Why that? Because when I ask a question, and that's what I was explaining at the beginning, is if I ask a question to someone and the question is the wrong question, you cannot get the right answer. Okay? You have less chance to get the right answer. So that's why that framing part is what we call the wicked business problem, is something that you spend with the sponsor of the project. So that can be your boss, that can be your client, that can be whomever. The idea here is what? Is if you properly ask or frame what we call the wicked business problem, then there are good chances that you're going to go to or deliver the appropriate solutions. Now, if you look at this for Carpool Arabia, one tip when we worked on the challenge, on the wicked business problem, is I said to Ben, be very careful. Whenever you ask the question, don't put an answer in your question, because then it's going to influence everybody. They will think that it's the direction to take. No, not at all, okay? It's how do you shift from a low-density community, that's the fact. That's what's going on, okay? And these users, they need to become a loyal critical mass of riders. So users, that means the you, me, everywhere, everybody in this city, how you transform them in a critical mass, because you need to have a critical mass. And that was the beginning of that was the question, the beginning of the workshop. And apparently when you see the figures, that means the 10 and the 20% growth, definitely we started to, well, I think we kind of get some good results. Build on each other's ideas. Collaboration is key, okay? And we're going to do a little exercise to wake you up a bit, okay? So I would say that these two rows are, you're specialized in marketing, okay? The 2 rows behind, or 3 rows behind, you're specialized in finance, okay?
I'm against finance, sorry, advertising, so I hate finance. Don't believe
Well, okay, come here then. Marketing here, finance there, and here we've got the sales team, okay? And whomever is left can go with whomever they want. Now I ask you, from this specific perspective, expertise that you've got, I ask you to improve this very simple device. How do you improve that on a financial point of view, on a marketing point of view, and on a sales point of view? Okay? You want to kind of give you 2 minutes? Or you want to ask some questions? Well, we probably don't have time. So, okay. Any ideas? On a marketing point of view.
You add some color to it.
You add some color to it. Okay. Okay, you make it attractive. On a financial point of view.
Smaller shape,
Well,
wood.
cheaper material, plastic. Okay, yeah, cut the cost. Okay. On a sales point of view. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean you improve it.
Introduce a new use for it.
Could be. Well, that would be the role of marketing. Okay. So you see what is interesting is the sum of all your perspective, your expertise would definitely help to start to build a solution. But if you look at this product and you think, okay, I'm going to improve that. As a designer, I would say, wow, let's put another shape. Let's look. You know what? I'm going to help my friends from marketing. I'm going to give a shape of a plane, and I'm going to ask the marketing folks to advertise that with Emirates, and I'm going to ask my sales guys to go and sell it to Emirates. Okay? Why not? But what is interesting is the collective competencies help to build a more complete solution. Inspiration, bring outside inside. Usually what I do in a design thinking workshop is I try to integrate some trends. I try to give a wider view on the problem, and bringing some social innovation type of ideas. I'm bringing these kind of models to make people understand that, you know, we've got humanity, human city at the center that provides data, and these data are analyzed, big data, whatever, and then you can start creating new business models. You can start creating software innovation or hardware innovation. However, you need to put human-centered innovation at the center to start building then a better future. This kind of bringing outside inside is very powerful in a design thinking workshop. Now the collective intelligence, as I was saying, the sum of all our expertise. So little thing here, okay? If you ask a question to finance, they're going to come with, okay, an answer, finance, a finance answer, or to a designer answer, or to a med answer, and so on. Now, if you ask a question to the whole group, you're going to have a super powerful answer if everybody works together to provide one and unique answer or series of answers, but everybody will have participated and everybody will have brought his own perspective to it. I'm almost done. Huh? Always looks at things from the eye of a child. Mr. Movie Video, where is he? Oh my God, I'm lost. Okay, I will try to do that on my own. No. Okay. Oh, can you help me to make it work? I mean, I've got the hand on the screen, but
yeah.
It's a video that lasts 9 minutes, and I shot it in a 1 minute and 20 seconds or something like that. Who knows about this video, Power of 10? Charles and Reims, yeah. Start to be far away, huh? D'ailleurs, Dassault Systèmes s'est pris le plaisir de venir copier cette vidéo.
Ah ouais?
Dans votre présentation. What I want to highlight with this video is our world is absolutely beautiful, and it depends from which angle you're looking at it. But you know that you look at it from the high in the sky or deep inside. I mean, it's just magic, and well, that's also something that you need to consider when doing design thinking. Now, this previous one was not good. These are some books that if you want to read about, you can take a picture of it, but these are some no-miss book that you need to be able to, or to go through to understand better what design thinking is about. So again, I just would like to step back a bit with what I said at the beginning. Design thinking is not only for startups, but what is good with startups is they have the mindset and they can easily adopt this. And for me, the best example has been with Ben and Carpool Arabia. They have embraced it. They have really played the whole thing. And we organized that I think in 1 week. This has been very quick, but very efficient. And we did that with another company here, Smart World, which has nothing to do with a startup. It's kind of a big company, a government company. They embraced it. At the beginning, they did not understand what we were doing all together in that room. There was the whole lead team. But they got it at the end of the day. They really got it. And we stepped out with 45 ideas. And they are implementing it, 30 ideas, at least 30 ideas of these. So it's a journey. Innovation is a journey. It doesn't stop once you've finished your innovation, when you think your innovation is done. No, actually it continues. And that's why I keep saying that design thinking and innovation, human-centered innovation, is more than just an idea. It's a mindset. So voila, I think that's done. I'm sorry.
All right. So we thank you so much for. I think the additional time that you took was, I think, worth every minute.